Today, my friends, we are starting off in Bunnings. We're looking for something that I can clad the interior of my roof pod with. And I've done a little bit of research, but I still wasn't entirely sure of what I wanted to use. So I was just checking out all these different boards in Bunnings to see how light they were. And I was looking at this MDF because it was kind of cool that it was already white melamine, but I know that MDF is not a very strong wood and it's quite susceptible to moisture. So I know that there's plywood used, like marine grade ply used in the marine industry. So I thought, let's have a look at some plywood. So I found this 3mm ply for $39 for a sheet, and I thought that's light enough for my little arms to handle for the install. Sometimes I just really overcommit myself. I didn't start lining the roof with the insulation until it was late in the afternoon. And I didn't really think about how that string's not going to hold that all insulation in for very long. So if I leave it tonight, then I may wind up with it in my face halfway through the night. And so I'm like, it's 6:15. Bunnings closes at 7. I'm just going to go and get the sheet of plywood to clad the top bit. But I haven't even tried drilling the screws into the metal yet. So that was probably a bit silly. I should have done that first. Anyway, we're going to try that now. And then hopefully I'm going to somehow magically get this cladding up there on my own. I've got my trusty mop somewhere to help me hold up the other end while I do it. We'll see. Whew, it works. Well, I've run out of light, the sun's gone down, the wind's picked up, it's pretty cold, I'm starving, so I'm eating. And I just don't have the energy in me right now to cut this board to size, so I'm going to have to somehow fit it in my van for tonight and hope that the insulation holds till tomorrow. Give it another go tomorrow. What was I thinking? God, the stupid things I do. I got it in. I do this purely for entertainment purposes for you. Oh my goodness. It's fine. I'll sort it out tomorrow. to shove the insulation in there when I'm ready to bolt that, because obviously the string is not working. It's 30 degrees today, so the tape is not sticking. And then I forgot about this little cord here, so I might just have to try and cut like a little corner off there so that I can get that flush. But I'm pretty stoked. I've really measured that right, and yeah, time to bolt it in. Me looking dishevelled. So obviously I've done this in 2 pieces, and there's reasons for that. A, because I'm on my own and it's really difficult to manage a really big piece of wood like that. I don't like the slit in the middle, but I'll deal with it. B, I've got the the window handles here, and it's great at the moment because that's actually holding this end of the panelling up, but it was too hard to get. If it was one piece, I couldn't actually get over the handles, so that's why I've done that. I didn't really want to do it because I have to, can only put the wood, halfway along the beam, which means I have to drill into the very end of the wood into that beam, and I'm not quite sure. It's only 3mm ply, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. Anyway, let's have a positive attitude, and maybe if we take it easy, it'll be fine. Maybe if I just drill holes in the ply first, it'll work better. Oh dear. God, give me strength. Far out. Okay, learn from my mistakes, people. Careful with the drill and the insulation. Woo! This one locked in place. Okay, sorry, dishevelled again. This is Christy work mode, and I've got to be honest, I'm kind of tired of being in Christy work mode. I just want to be able to get to the point where I can start prettying it up. Anyway, we'll get there. I just thought I'd explain. I chose 3mm plywood because it's really light, was my first reasoning. The second was it's easy to cut. So I'm not even using a big saw, I'm just using that tiny little saw I've got. And it's kind of like, it is effort, but it's like cutting through a hard cardboard. So that was the second reason. Third is that I get a little bit worried about having it, you know, I'm doing it myself, so I don't want a heavy wood above my head in case I'm doing it wrong and it falls on my head in the middle of the night. So when I went to Bunnings, I just got these little screws, these metal screws. So obviously you need to make sure that the screws are no longer than the width of the beam that you've got. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I'm explaining something very simple, but I'm going to do that anyway, just for people who may be doing this. So you obviously want to make sure that the screw doesn't go deeper than the ridge, because you don't want to be drilling into the roof, only the cross beams, sorry, not the ridge. So you want to make sure it goes through the wood into the cross beam. And I did think about, I'm not quite sure what they're called, maybe anchoring screws or something, where you put them in and then they sort of spread out and grab once you put it through the metal. But then if you make a mistake, you have to drill that out. Like, you can't actually just reverse it and drill it out again. So anyone who thinks I've done something wrong here, please feel free to comment in the comment section in a helpful manner, not a judgment manner, because we're all learning through my experience here. I'm not a professional by any means whatsoever. So this is obviously the first time I've ever done this. I'm quite proud of myself. It does look like slightly buckled in between the screws. So, I mean, I could probably put some more screws in maybe, but I don't know, I'll leave that for the moment and just see. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the cladding after this. I'm kind of thinking I want like a world map on my roof. So maybe like I can get a wallpaper world map, or I don't know, anyway. Either that or I'll do a Da Vinci and do a Sistine Chapel or something. I don't know if my back could handle that. I should have painted it before I put it in, but I'm still undecided on what I'm doing, so that's why I haven't done that. So yeah, that's what I'm using. I just wound up buying myself a little cheap drill to do all this with, because I was using my brother-in-law's equipment all the time, and I don't want to carry a drill with me, because everything I carry I've got to find room for, but I've used it so much already, so I wish I had actually bought one earlier. Yeah, so I might have a rest, I think, because my body is, I'm really tired. But anyway, I'll have a bit of a rest and then see this afternoon if I can be bothered, because I have to actually hand cut the skylight out of the next panel. So I don't know if I've got the energy for that today. Maybe that's a tomorrow job. Okay, so today we're going to do the second part of the roof, and I would have done it yesterday, but I didn't want to push myself. I was feeling a bit whacked, but I've had a really good night's sleep now, so we'll give this a go today. I'm trying to be more patient with myself. I go bull at a gate and then I run myself down, so we're just going to do it bit by bit because I'm hand sawing, so it can be a little bit taxing. So anyway, obviously I've got my skylight in this section, so what I'm going to do here, because I'm hand sawing, it's just too hard to try and actually cut a centre bit out, so I'm just going to cut a U out of the wood, and then that will mean that there is a bit raw, but maybe I might be able to, I don't know, liquid nails a bit of ply up there, or I don't know, put some fake plants in there or something. I don't know, I'll work that out later. But just because I'm hand sawing with that little tiny saw of mine, we're just going to try and do that, and hopefully I can get the rounded edges here and my measurements right. And one of the things I've found over here, so I've got a bit of buckling happening, obviously here and here, and here is there's quite a bit of a buckle, and I think maybe I don't know whether that's just normal, or if potentially I could, when I'm screwing, maybe move the mop to like push it up so that it's, you know, pushing that wood as far back this way as possible so that we don't get the droop. I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's just how it is, because, you know, maybe I just need more screws, but Anyway, I'm going to leave it as is for now, and I'm just going to try a little bit better with this one and see if I can have less buckling. So it turns out this is not actually centre. 265 on one side, 255 on the other. So I'm going to have to make sure I've got the sides right, because I've got all drawing and stuff on one side of the wood. So I've got one side of the wood that's nice and clean that I want showing this way. Yeah. Made myself look not so just dishevelled. So I might actually just take out the insulation I've got on the edges here, because I find that it catches when I try to put it in the roof. So I'm going to have to start at that end, because I need to be able to shove the insulation in as I go, because the string theory, hanging it by string, didn't really work for the roof. It works great for the sides, but yeah, so it's going to be a delicate operation. Let's see how we go. I just remembered I want to sandpaper the edges of this, because I was really impressed with myself that I was able to do those corners, those rounded corners. But yeah, just give it a bit of a sand so I don't get splinters later on. I stuffed it up. You know how they say measure twice, cut once? I really stuffed it up. Damn. When I measured the length, I measured from this point here to this point here. But I should have measured to this point here, because it's stopping there and now I can't attach it to here. I just put in so much work and it cut so beautifully. And I actually measured so many times. Like I double checked, you know, and I had all my measurements right. I just didn't have, yeah, I didn't think that through very well. Damn. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to add a bit of wood that goes along there. I'm going to have to attach it to the end of this and then to that, Anyway, I'm gonna have to think about that and I'll come back to you. Okay, I think I have a solution, and this actually might work better because then I won't have that gap there with the wood. So I am going to use this large piece of wood was a bit too long, and so I've cut, that's the end that I cut off to make sure that it fit what I thought would fit lengthways. So I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to drill this bit of wood in to the metal there, and then the other piece of wood can slide onto the top of that on the edges, and I can attach, oh, sorry, I've only got one hand to show you. So I'm going to slide it into here, and then I can attach this bit of wood to that bit of wood. So that's what I'm going to do, and then that'll cover, you know, this bit here, kind of. Yeah.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, good, how are you?
Good.
That's good.
When I rocked up, I saw you cutting something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the trade, and I saw it. I thought, I have to say to this lady, you did a really good job.
Oh, thank you for the little tiny saw that I had.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. With that, really good job. I have to say.
Thank you. That was really nice. How's that for some precision cutting? Okay, that fits nicely there. And then, whoop, look at that. So good. Damn, I'm good. Oh my gosh. Surprise myself sometimes. So impressed with myself. Okay, so now I have to shove the insulation in and then screw. Oh, I'm excited. I'm so chuffed with myself that I cut around that skylight so nicely. Amazing. Oh. So this is my handiwork. I think this might actually just be okay, just to leave it as is. You know, it's not really going to hold anything in particular, so could always just whack a bit of liquid nails in there later if I wanted to. But that's pretty solid. Those precision cuts around the edges. My goodness, look at that. Should have been a carpenter. And then I'm actually so chuffed with this here, like it's actually quite flush. Look at that. Super cool. There is a bit of warp bend in the ply, but you know, such is life. What are you going to do? I think that's pretty good for first time. Yeah. Well, I did it, and I can't believe I did that. I have to admit, I was procrastinating on doing the interior cladding because I think I was just a bit worried I wouldn't be able to do it myself. But I just, it's such a sense of achievement when you do something yourself. And I think, like, I've got to be honest, like, after doing all the interior renovations and the roof, and I'm actually quite exhausted. It's been a lot of physical labour on top of everything else I do, you know, the travelling, YouTube, work, you know, catching up with family. Like, it's just, I'm quite, you know, in the heat as well. It's been quite tiring. But so it's sort of, yesterday was when I decided I'm going to have a week off YouTube, which is the first time since I started that I've had a week off. But as soon as I decided to do that, I just felt a sense of relief. I've stopped putting that pressure on myself. And then I just thought, oh, I'm just going to take it easy with the roof. I'll just, you know, I've got the wood there. I'll just do little movements. And I just kind of, I'm normally one of those people that just, I've got to push through, get it done, you know. So I just took a chill pill and I just kind of hand sawed little bits at a time throughout the day. I wasn't pushing myself, and it all just went really great. You know, the mess up I did with my measurements, it actually worked out fine in the end. It worked out better, I think. So that was great. But yeah, the 3mm ply for lining, it may be more susceptible to warping, etc. I'm not entirely sure. I was looking at an MDF board which had a white sort of melamine exterior, but MDF is definitely more susceptible to warping and mildew and things, where I think ply is a bit sturdier in that regard. And yes, I probably should have used something thicker, but it was just me wanting to be able to do it myself and not having the right tools. Like, I don't have, you know, the electric saws and all that sort of jazz, and I was worried to do it myself. So I wanted to try and do it in the easiest way possible, which is why I chose that thickness. So over time will tell whether that's going to work for me long term or not. I still obviously need to do the sides, but I'm not pressuring myself to do that. I may take out that insulation I've put up there until I'm ready to do that, because that thing about the wool, like, I love it. It's sustainable, and you know, once, you know, it can return to the earth and, you know, it will dissolve. It won't, it's not going to damage the earth long term. So, but it is quite fibrous. So I'm finding I'm getting a lot of, you know, fibre bits everywhere, and that's frustrating me a little bit. So I may take that down until I'm ready to do that cladding. And I think I will do that in sections. I think I might just, I'm not sure I'll do around the window. I'll have a think about that. I know I can hand saw it, but it's work and it's time consuming. So I'll have a think about that one. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. I have just bought something to cover it with, which I'm quite excited about, and I'll do another video on that. But yeah, super chuffed with how I did that skylight. And it was so nice of that gentleman just to come up and say what a good job I did, because he's in the trade. Yeah. Yeah, very happy. What are your thoughts? Let me know.